This is an FIE Composer 2.0 help video. The general topic is scenes, and this specific video is general usage and workflow. So we're going to hop over to Composer here. Now I've already got something loaded in here, and so the first thing we're going to do is clear it out and just start with a new scene, which we can do by hitting the Scene button and hitting N or clicking the New button. It says the current scene is up and saved. Do you want to save it first? And I say no, and it clears it out. Right? That's pretty easy in and of itself. Right? The next thing we're going to look at is opening a scene. And yeah, I assure you things will get a little more interesting than this, but you hit the S button, go into the Scenes menu, and right below the New menu is the Open button. We'll press the O key, right? And we're going to go into the EPI project, and I'm going to grab this scene, which I call ENV Mech Cockpit 01 Walls Blocking 01, which is a scene that I created using the scene manager earlier, and the purpose of this scene is to just hold what I refer to as an environment or a set that I'm sort of working in, that I'm going to do lots of stuff in for this project, but I'm just sort of relegating just building the set to its own scene. And I have two versions of it because I was working on it, and then I sort of picked it up later, so I'm going to grab the latest one, and that's it. And so if I just hop to the working set and turn all this stuff on, go to the walls, I'll just do a tumble. You'll see that this set has no lighting, so I can't really see anything, so I'm just going to add a headlight just so I can see what's going on. And here we go. This is actually just the 4 meter by 4 meter room with a chair in the middle of it that I used for some other demos. There's not much to it except that I'm realizing now that I was doing some work with this in some other scenes, and I sort of realized that there's one really important component that I want in this environment that I want to work with for framing that I haven't put in here yet, and that's sort of a big sort of flat panel monitor that I kind of want floating in front of the cockpit here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Pieces. I'm going to add a cube, and I'm going to call it Monitor. And I'm just going to make it the thing I'm working with in my working set. Grab its SRT, pull it out here where I can get a little better sense of its size and scale, what I'm doing with it. Make it about yay big. Just pull it and sort of place it roughly where I think it makes sense. Yeah, it's not perfect, but I think that's where I want it to be. And so we'll just call that good enough to start. Okay. And so what I want to do first of all is I just want to save this out as a new version of the existing scene. So I'm just going to delete the headlight because I do want to sort of keep my set without lights in it for this purpose, and you'll sort of see later why. Hit the S key to go into the Scenes menu again. And I have sort of on the left here two different ways to save. I can save a version, which if this came from an asset already, it's going to save me the trouble of going and telling you which asset to save it to. It's just going to add a new version. So if I just hit Save Version here, since I loaded this from an ENV, it just does it, and that's it. And in fact, I can show you if I just do Scene Open and take a look at the EPI project and look at the ENV, that I get it. I have a third version here. I have this version that I just saved. So just open it up, and here it is. I can also save to asset, which gives me a typical sort of way to browse when I'm saving. So I can choose EPI, and then from within this this sort of scene asset browser, I can go to Manage, and I can add a new asset. I'll call it Test 01, just because I'm going to blow this away in a second. And then I can actually choose to save to this new asset that I just created. It says save this to asset test 01, say yes, save. And so if I intend to sort of like branch this asset to something else, or if it's brand new and I haven't saved it to anything yet and I don't want to go through the manager, I just want to do it by hitting the Save to Asset button. I can do that here. Okay, Um, and so, if this were just about, I could bring in a person and I could bring cameras and turn the light back on and, to do what I want to do in here. Um, and if that's all that Composer did, it would actually be a pretty complete application. But we have these three buttons here on the right called Merge, Overlay, and Apply. And the reason, what these do is they allow you to sort of work with scene assets in a more nonlinear fashion, where you can share assets and update assets between scenes in a reasonable way. And what that allows you to do is be a little bit more nonlinear with your workflow, and be assured that you can sort of update things later, and therefore free you from having to commit to decisions earlier than you'd like. And I'll show you how that works by just sort of going through a mock, continuing through this mock sort of workflow here. So actually what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open a different scene that I saved out earlier called Beat MechaMaster Angles Generic 1. Okay, and I've got a couple of versions. I'm just going to grab the latest. Now let's just take a look at what I've got here. It looks like I've got, wall, seat, back, stem, person, and a headlight. So basically, and then angles 1, 2, and 3, which are cameras. And if we just take a look at what's going on here, you'll see that it's basically, actually, let's look at this from the person's full body, which will make it a little easier to just tumble around. You'll see that this is that same environment that I had before, except it doesn't have the monitor, because I just added that monitor to to a different scene, but I didn't add it to this one. But I have this person in here, and then beyond that, I have already actually set some angles. Angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3. And what I really want to do here is I want to get that monitor in here. But I don't want to, but I want to keep my angles and I want to keep my person, because I kind of put work into them. And to the extent that I have these things separated out, it's kind of, difficult. I don't really want to have to keep creating that monitor all the time. And if I have different scenes and different setups in here, in completely different scene files, maybe I've used this environment maybe like 4 or 5 different times in completely different scenes. Even if I go through the trouble of doing it once in here and not having done it in that other file, I still have to do it again and again in each of those other scene files, and it really becomes a very serious conundrum about how do I, what's the right way to do it, is that I never get to update my environment after I build it once, because once I copy it out into multiple scenes, it effectively becomes unmanageable. That's a terrible workflow. That can't really work for something in the long run. And the solution to this really comes from these merge, overlay, and apply buttons. Okay, where basically what these things do is they allow you to bring scenes together again in useful ways. And so I'm going to start here with just the overlay. And what the overlay will do is it'll merge 2 scenes together, the current scene, the one you've got open, and the one that you choose to overlay over it. But it's going to selectively overlay the scene that you're loading in onto the existing ones. So if objects don't exist in, or if objects do exist in the scene that's coming in and they don't exist in this one yet, it will create them. And if they do exist, it will simply apply their settings. It will not create a new one. Okay, so what we can do is we can say overlay, go into the EPI project and grab the ENV asset and grab this updated one that has the monitor in it. Okay. And if we look, we'll see it's added the monitor piece. Right? And in fact, if I just go out to the person, you can see that it's in here. But I still have my person. And I still have my angles. Right? And in fact, it's highlighted a problem for me, which is that the whole point of getting this thing in here is to sort of see what it might do to my shots. And in angle 1, it completely blocks the guy's face. In angle 2, it completely blocks the guy's face. In angle 3, looks like it probably works actually. I can see the monitor and in the over the shoulder. But this has sort of effectively done what I wanted, which is it brought this piece in here in a way that's that's correct, that's useful. So let's though move forward to fixing these problems, right? Which is like, here's again angle 1, and it's blocking the guy. I could maybe, let's take a look at this from the top. I could, change my angle and get around it, but it looks like I might actually be able to get away with just pulling the monitor back. Maybe an extra few inches, and maybe that frees up angle 1, and it does. So, all right, well, so angle 1 is maybe happy now just by a simple move of the set. Now, angle 2 is just not going to be helped by that. So I'm probably going to have to redo angle 2. And angle 3 looks like it's still perfectly fine, just pulling that piece back. So let's now just change angle 2. Let's rethink how we want to set the stage. That works, but do I want to see the display? I think I want to see the display, actually. So maybe I actually want to pull this thing completely around, more like this. Yeah, and that looks like it's maybe a better angle to start with. And yeah, maybe this is a better establishing shot. So now, all right, angle 1 is good, angle 2 is good, and angle 3 looks like it's good. So I've sort of worked through this problem, which is great. But I did change the position of that monitor. Right. So the first thing I'm going to do actually is just going to do scene save version, just so that this beat is updated. I have this thing now, which is good. But what I want to do is I want to go back into that ENV scene and just try to bring in this change of this monitor, back into that, get this movement. Now, I could now, do this the hard way, which is go back into the original, make the same change, try to remember how far I pulled it, and then take that and overlay that back in here again and save a new version just to make sure that it's up to date and that way. But I can also do it a different way, which is I can just go and open that ENV scene again, the one that I saved, which is here. And now what I can do is use the third option here, which is apply. And what an apply does is, as the scene that you're applying to what you've already got loaded, if a piece doesn't exist, it skips it, and if a piece exists, it applies its settings. So every object that's in this environment setup exists in that beat that I was just working on. And I just really want to pull their settings in, all the changes that I made, specifically moving the monitor. So I can actually just apply the beat back to the environment, and it'll do the thing that I need to do. So I can just click Apply, EPI, grab the beat, grab that latest version, and it does the job. It moves, it just grabs whatever changes I made, and I can do Save Version. And now I've just updated, gone the other direction. I've sort of pulled all the changes I made to the set back into the environment of the global one, and if I needed to, I could then take these and overlay them into other projects, other setups, etc. The one that I haven't gone to here is the merge, and I guess we'll just sort of come up with some sort of contrived way of dealing with the merge. So let's create a new scene here. And let's add another piece, and we'll call it chest, such as sort of like a storage chest that we're going to push off to the side here. Actually, we'll just call it chest base. Oops, I should spell that right. Actually, we'll call it, we'll do 2 chests. And then we'll duplicate it later. Add a headlight. So you can see what we're doing. And we'll just take it and sort of throw it to the side here. Give it some dimensions that kind of make sense. For sort of a storage chest off to the side. All right, then we'll duplicate it. And then center up on the origin. Center up the origin. And we'll just put another one off to the other side. Okay, and so it's more than one piece. It's complex enough. Okay. And we kind of just want to add these to the to the ENV. And so what we can do here is we can go to Scene. We can merge in the environment latest version, which then throws everything in place, right? Take a look. We'll see that we've got the chests, exactly where we wanted them, and we've got everything that we wanted, from before. So we did effectively just merge in an existing scene, because the merge just adds everything. It doesn't matter whether it exists or not already. It adds everything in. And so now we'll hit save and save to asset, and then EPI, ENV, and we'll save that. Yes, save. And, that's in there, and then just sort of prove that, now we've updated our master environment, and now we yet again need to go update our beats, because, those things might have changed some of our angles, so let's just check that. Click open. Grab the beat. Right? Just grab, say, the angle 1, 2, and 3 and the person. It's as we left it, there's no chest in here, so we're going to do an overlay of the latest version of the environment, and the chests come in. Okay, and if we had other scenes with other angles, here, let's go check our angles again. Angle 1 is fine. Angle 2 is fine. And angle 3 is fine. So we'll just save this version. And if we had other scenes with other camera angles in them, we could go into those and just overlay the environment back in again, and we could bring those chests in and update those environments, the environments in those beats as well. So I'm sure this is a little confusing, moving around back and forth, but I hope what it's done is it's shown you, some nonlinear workflow and how the extra options we have as far as, besides just loading and saving of assets and versions, that the merge, the overlay, and the apply can be used to support actually some pretty complex nonlinear workflows, which are important to the creative process, because you don't always nail your environment the first time. The whole point of this is for you to be able to take things all the way through to the point that you're setting cameras and then realize this isn't good, I want to change it, and be able to go back and make those changes, and then reapply your work that you've done afterwards to the new environment and make changes and do this in an iterative, creative way. Okay, so that's sort of scene management and workflow.